wonderful to have with us Mr. Vidya Bhushan Rawat, who is a human rights activist, a strong believer in humanism, rationalism and atheism. He's also a columnist who regularly contributes his views in newspapers and blogs, and if you want to follow him, all you need to do is just Google for him, because he's also a writer. Welcome, Mr. Rawat. We are so happy to have you here at Atheist Centre. Can you please tell us something about your relationship with Atheist Centre and how you happen to know about it, and how did the friendship continue?
I'm a humanist, and my humanism actually came from the reading writings of Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar and Periyar and Jyotiba Phule and also M.N. Roy. Bhagat Singh, all these people actually I used to read, but I can say that I read it after I completed my education. Okay. So I didn't have much time to read these. And when I came in touch with all humanist writings and humanist movement, the first time I came to Andhra Pradesh in the Rationalist Conference, Andhra Pradesh Rationalist Association's Conference. I think it was in Kakinada. That time I was made the chief guest, I don't know why. And I spoke there, and the translation was done by Dr. Vidyas. So that time I didn't know much about Dr. Vidyas except that he's an elderly man, and we discussed. I think it was 2002 or 3, something like this. And then I had the literature, and what I got impressed was that this atheism word is not used as a atheism nastik kendram, like it's very difficult. There's no other place which can proudly claim to be an atheist center. So that is where even today, when I was coming from Delhi and I told people that there is a word atheist conference, and many of my friends were saying, "Arey humko batate, hum bhi aate." Or we want to be associated with, they never feel that there are people who openly proclaim to be atheist. So I think 2002-03 onwards I started knowing, and then I attended many conferences, the World Conference on Atheism and Vidyas and Dr. Vidyas and Lavanamji, even Hemlataji, I met all of them. And even when there was a youth group, I brought some of the youth groups of the youth humanists from Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. And we had a big training program also in Suryapet once. And the most important part of this is what I like about it is not the lecturing on humanism or atheism. It's how you can influence marginalized communities. Because I've always said that many times people debate, discuss, and they discuss hours and hours on humanism. And we had in when this Amsterdam Declaration was being made, I was in IHU, and I was in one of the group discussion there, and they were discussing humanism in action. So there were many people who said humanism humanism is a philosophy, so it should not go beyond philosophy. I said philosophy is made for people.
Correct.
So if you just want to talk about humanism, just say घर पे Marxism पे discuss करते
people do things,
there's no point. And I say in a society like India, which is so iniquitous, where there is gender discrimination, you don't like your girls, assertive girls, you may like your submissive girls who do all the cleaning and cooking thing and smilingly, but not assertive girls who can go out on her own terms and conditions and find a boy for herself, or no boy, not necessary. So there are many who say we want to grow up and we want to enjoy our life.
Right.
People don't like, even those who claim to be humanist or those who claim to be Marxist, they are all these in public meetings. So we have a public impression about someone, and the same people become very rigid and very parochial in their homes in terms of their girls. Similarly about the caste. We discuss everything under the sun. We'll say humanism is this, atheism, Gita is bad, Ramayana is this God is bad, this God is good. But when the caste question comes, we feel so offended in person. I know that whenever I raise these issues, I see the faces of the people. And I can tell, I read those faces, how many people feel so offended. They don't want to discuss this.
Yeah.
And I say, in India, the biggest superstition is your belief in that there are people who are unequal. How can you believe in a society? How do you think, why do you think that women can't do some work, or some men cannot do the other work, and some people are born to clean your toilet or shit, and some people are born to rule, some people have knowledge. So in India we have the best for humanism and atheism, because it is these marginalized people who are, you know, victim of our social system, social structure.
You're right.
And it is these people who will carry, like I tell why we need to listen to Gora. Because he reached fight against untouchability, intercaste marriages. Now humanism is not just debating, it's these kind of actions.
So do you mean to say that Gora's positive atheism is all about walking the talk?
Yeah.
It's time to take action.
Yes.
Is that what you want?
Yeah. See, I tell people in India, a number of them were initially thinking humanism means Royism. M.N. Roy. So I say, no, M.N. Roy was a great thinker, much ahead of his time. But if you see the whole trajectory of people associated with social movements in India, particularly those related to, say, Ambedkar, Phule, Periyar, Savitribai Phule, what was they fighting against? They're fighting against irrationality, superstition, caste system, untouchability. Now these must be part of any humanist struggle.
Correct.
And if we just, what has happened is that we just want to make humanism a kind of a neutral, non-political, very soft thing. That it is just, we speak about one Baba or this Baba. Speaking about Babas is easy.
Yeah.
But speaking against the social prejudices is the biggest challenge.
Absolutely.
And that humanists must do.
Yeah. So you think this aspect of positive atheism, where you transform, it's time to act. Yeah. That's what you feel is actually relevant.
Definitely. I tell you this thing. I have started like the same work. My work is not just merely writing and this thing. A large part of my work was creating young leadership, young humanists. And I tell you this thing, in Uttar Pradesh, which is like a very, most of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and most marginalized sectors, communities, we brought the children. And we were not injecting them with an ideological thing, just making them ask question. I say you have to ask question. You have to believe in yourself, stand up. You are not inferior to anyone. And without telling them all, with action, there are girls and boys from these marginalized sections who are perfectly humanist, who don't believe in any all supernatural thing. They believe in themselves. We have diverse caste communities, youngsters who come, meet, enjoy, and we are not humanists as a cult. We want to liberate people.
Exactly. In fact, the younger generation, there are many who are very liberal-minded.
Yes.
They don't want to identify themselves with any religion.
Yes.
So what do you think? One side we see people becoming more and more liberal, youngsters, future generation, and on the other side we still see superstition. So what do you think is a major challenge for the humanist movement?
See, the biggest challenge with the humanist movement is that one, they cannot be neutral in these times when the religious orthodoxy is growing in this country, and we know who. It's very open. This country, whatever problems you might have in the past, but they were constitutionally secular. And at least today, whatever we had a Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, who was absolutely humanist. And with the scientific thinking, with a very broad vision. The first 16 years what he gave, if he were not there, we would not have been at this position. What I say is that with the history of these people, social movements, this legacy we have to carry. Now the challenge is not to be in isolation. And not to just, we must speak against superstition. I say why people become superstition. Because the disciples of Sai Baba are not the poor people, but the very rich people. So if you see that only poor people are superstitious, and rich people are also, we have to understand the dynamics of
Yes.
the power politics of religion.
Yeah.
Religion is power politics. That's why the biggest scientists are the bhaktas. And the poor people become superstitious because the failure of our state welfare system. If our health services are good, if our health services are easily accessible, the poor will not go to the ojas and tona tantrics, which they go. So my thing is that when we make science, what has happened? Science should have been used to promote humanism, to promote scientific thinking, and what is happening? Science is being used by the religious rites to spread superstition, to spread regressive values. Now this is the big issue, as you said. One is that we have to declass also. So it's not merely saying I'm claiming I'm a humanist. Because it's easier. I can claim because I don't believe in anything and I'm alone and I can marry to anyone. Because you will marry in your class, and after a class you don't care for anything.
Yeah.
But the issue is that are we ready to listen to dissenting voices? Are we ready to listen to people without any preconditions? Humanism is a free thinking, and I believe that the day people start being jealous of you, that how this girl is better, how she is smiling, how she is confident, they will start following you. So we don't need to make people through all our theories, but through behavior.
Correct.
I told many of our youngsters in Uttar Pradesh when they were with us, I say, look, your success is when people start feeling, your neighbor start feeling jealous of you. Jealous means when she will also say, यार ये लड़की तो बहुत हंसती है, घूमती है, कॉन्फिडेंस है, फर्स्ट डिवीजन भी आ रही है, घूम रही है, जा रही है, on her own. That day she will also start thinking that I should also start going.
So do you mean to say that it's the responsibility of the humanist, rationalists and atheists to pave the way to be that role model?
Yes.
Is it?
They have to be role models also, and they have to be facilitator also. They can be a facilitator also. And in a sense, like if we have resources, we should promote these resources we should support these kind of movements, because what happens is that most of the social movements, most of the charities come through the right-wing organizations or through religious rights. So you have I don't want to name them, but that is everywhere in the world. Mostly the charities come, and charities are used during the calamities. So when people are in tsunami, you will have different Babas, different church group, different Muslim group, all coming through the charities. Now, when anybody gets those charities, they automatically follow them. So you are not saying Jai Sri Ram or Jai Masih ki or Jai Allah ki because of any love. Sometimes you do it because of your compulsion. Somebody is feeding you. Somebody is coming with all those kind of things. That is where I say, if humanists have to reach, because this huge mass in India, and the mass is oppressed economically and socially and culturally. If we intervene in these sectors, work, and stand with all those who are fighting, like there are so many dishonored killing in this country, there are so many caste-based killing, there are gender killings, we should stand. Humanist cannot close his or her eyes on the issues that people are facing. We cannot be a programmatic people. This is our program only to organize a workshop, and then we don't have the funds and then keep quiet. We have to respond to the situation. There are some immediate things and there are some historical things. Immediate things are like, as we say, Citizenship Act, as we say, minority violation of right, as we say, violence against women, they are immediate. So we have to stand with all these social movements or political movements or civil society movements, wherever they are fighting. I can't keep quiet and then lecturing women, oh, तुमने कुछ गलती की होगी, that's why वो लड़का तुमको छेड़ा है. That's what the people do it. If humanists also behave the same way, then there is no point. So humanist must be a human right defender also. A person who cannot defend the rights of women, rights of Dalits, can't be anti-caste, can't be against anti-untouchability, cannot be a humanist. I don't believe somebody calling himself a humanist and believing all those structures.
Mr. Rawat, we have heard a lot about your work, so can you please tell us something about the work you do?
See, it's a complex question. Complex for me because I'm in multiple things. You have to little bit of understand my background also for that. And the background was like till my post-graduation I did not know much about all these writings of Dr. Ambedkar or Phule or Periyar or humanism, whatever. Because my own life was full of struggle. So I grew up in struggle and from the childhood. So a childhood who has not seen his grandparents, was not seen his any side of grandparents. So that's a big thing for an Indian situation. And then not seeing his father, just 5 years. As I told in the morning, the only photograph that I saw my father's was of a family photograph. And when he passed away, it was very difficult to get out of that, because those were the years when you were not having the Photoshop and all those kind of things. So that was the only one photograph. So I didn't see how my grandparents looked like. Whether it's Dada, Dadi or Nana, Nani, and fathers have just one. So it's like in that kind of situation where you suffer. Suffering were part of it. And then I wanted to study, but I didn't have any help. So I had to work myself and do the studies. And most of the time in India there cannot be any part-time thing, because the part-time thing also become the full-time. So in 1990, I was brought to Delhi by Dr. Mulk Rajanan. So because I became a friend of him, we were writing continuously with some questions on issue of untouchability and this. And then he brought me to Delhi. So when he brought me to Delhi, he asked me to stay at his home. And he said, you will stay with me and don't worry about anything, and you read here and do work, particularly in social action. He wanted me to work on, manual scavenging, and one thing he always said that, more than writing, your action will be more important. So obviously I always felt, because he was a close Gandhian and also had met Dr. Ambedkar, so person with that kind of personality I always loved. But there also I had a lot of trouble at home, because the other people at his home was not comfortable with me, and so I had to leave the place in 2 years' time. But in that period also I suffered a lot personally inside that places, because there was no one where I could share. So I started to going to church, which was nearby, and there I started sharing my thoughts, and because one thing that I always felt was missing was particularly in our society is and a person doesn't feel wanted. And I felt this neglect, because there was not much very sharing with people, and so one part of Christianity was very good about this, that they hear, they are like close to you. But in certain 4-5 month period of time when I started learning the theology, there was some question that made me very uncomfortable. I never use the terms which I feel are racist or have a cultural superiority of the whites. So like blackmail. Why is the blackmail term? Why is the black money? Why should we use the term black money? All the illicit money is with the powerful people. So all these kind of things. So I started questioning about the Dalits and the church and this thing, and then black. Why is black evil? Because they are theological questions. So I was not very comfortable, so I decided not to really go for a baptism and follow Ambedkar, Phule, Periyar, because somewhere I was also feeling that even if I become, I will not be I cannot change the society. I maybe cannot be even speak that strongly, which I speak today. So then after reading Dr. Ambedkar, a lot of Periyar's work, my real liberation came from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. I feel that he was the person who has what I am today. If his writings, his work, his life totally inspired me, and the more I read, the more I want to read about him.
What is the exact aspect of Ambedkar that
I tell people about, if you want to know about Indian society and its whole structure, any student of political science, social sciences, or even human rights, or humanism or atheism, is incomplete without reading Dr. Ambedkar's writing. Is Annihilation of Caste. What is it? It is challenging the religious text. What was the difference between him and Gandhi? That was the very basic difference of where Gandhi says that castes are, given by, they are the granted by Shastras, God's grants. And Dr. Ambedkar wanted to challenge that. He says, if Shastras have anything wrong, we must delete those chapters, those lines. And Gandhi says that, that Shastras are God written, so cannot be deleted anything. So these were the thing, the challenge. Then if you read more and more, he was so balanced and so clear about the right and dignity of human being. I say anybody, the liberation is for everyone. For women, for men. I don't see that anybody who read Ambedkar will not feel liberated. Even today's India, I would say they need more and more Dr. Ambedkar's writing. Read them. You will never find it's very casteist or anything. It is for everyone.
So he's still relevant to us.
He is more relevant than any other political leader, because his writings are so clear, crystal clear about India's caste system and how we can he could have easily become a hate monger. But he talked about fraternity. That fraternity part is the most important part of Dr. Ambedkar. What he says, I want to demolish the caste system, but I don't want to demolish the people. I want to win them over.
Yeah.
So it's that makes him different than the Marxist, where you are violently opposing, the power of the proletariat.
Yeah.
He is not saying that. He is saying that we want to win, but we want to win with a fraternity. We want to be equal. You love us, we love you. We are all equal human being. And Democrat, Republican, individual. That's what he talks. If you read him, you'll see this man is talking about individual, supremacy of individual. And he says if a society cannot respect individual, it will never become a society. I can't shake him hand in India with anyone because somebody will think of my caste. And in US and anywhere in world, I can shake hand, go anywhere. Nobody question me, where are you from, why are you here? But here when I go to any hotel or any school or college, and people will ask, who are you? Where are you from? Basically an attempt to know your background. So that was the most important part, and I realized that all writing, particularly on annihilation of caste, is a must for every student of social sciences. Then read about the state and minorities, what he talked about, the reorganization of states. I think wonderful book about rights of minorities. Then about women, he wrote about when he was making the Hindu Code Bill, and what happened at that time also. Read the history when he was drafting the Hindu Code Bill and when it was coming to Parliament. Who were opposing it? Except for Nehru, all Congress leaders, most of them were opposing it. Along with them were these Sangh Parivar people also. Along with them were some Muslim League people also. Because they were afraid that, when the question came, why are you drafting this bill? They say the Shyama Prasad Mukherjee saying that it will destroy the family system. Hamara Sanskriti khatre mein pad jayega. This is the kind of thing they were speaking. Now somebody was saying, why you are targeting Hindus only? Dr. Ambedkar said, give me 24 hours and I will make a uniform civil code. So he was the man of modern India, I would say. And modern India, which is like looking forward at 21st century India. Far ahead of his time, if we want to see that way, the perspective was. Otherwise, he never glorified the culture. Many people start, we have a great culture, this, all this thing. So even if you see the Buddhism that he promoted was a very humanist Buddhism. It's humanism. He's not promoting rituals and, all this Brahminical concept. He's promoting humanism. And that's where I admire Dr. Ambedkar, that he gives you strength, he gives you courage to speak, to stand up, to dissent, and you will be surprised, like on 25th of December 1927, Dr. Ambedkar had burnt Manusmriti. You see, because he said the Manusmriti violate women's right. You know who burnt the Manusmriti? Dr. Ambedkar did not burn. He was the leader. The Manusmriti was burned by a Brahmin. His name was Sahasra Buddhe. So that means in his whole team there was very enlightened people. And they were very good people who may have been born in Brahmin, not necessarily you are a Brahmin, whatever. If you challenge the wrongs, because you are an individual also. I can't blame you for where you are born. If I blame where you are born, then I am a racist. I can't decide my birth. I tell everyone. So don't insult people or blame people for where they are born. Ask people for accountability from their work. And from there I started working, and my focus started. I saw a lot of politics, a lot of class in Delhi. So I started focusing on I worked with some international organization also, some human rights organization. I realized that there were some Indians who never actually dealing themselves for the caste system and the typical mindset. So I had to leave all those. Then I decided that these people talk a lot of hype. It won't work unless we start creating people and working at the ground. Because working with the international organization never gave us the strength in the ground.
Grassroots level is very important.
And I felt that today, and working so much of human rights movement and all these things, also sometime happens, and sitting in Delhi and bombarding on everyone, Delhi. So what happens then when you create negativity? Because Delhi, there is an accusation against this, against that, wo kharab, ye kharab, ye aisa. That hurt you at the end. So you don't hurt others, you start hurting yourself. So I started working at the ground, and I found the positive work give you a lot of strength. Today that positive work of mine, which was there in Uttar Pradesh, working with the communities like manual scavenging, the mushar, the most marginalized, I'm like a family with them. And it's that thing that give you a lot of strength. And that is why I say positive work is very, very important for all of us to do. So I decided, if you have to know me, I would be happy if I have created 10 people, 20, 30. So I am actually in that process of working for the young writers, young filmmakers, young activists. That kind of thing I had decided for myself that I would promote them wherever people invite me for a workshop or training program. I go and I give 3, 4, 5 days thing. If there are 20 people, 10 people, 15 people, and I would like to see them, the young Indian who can speak beyond their caste, beyond their gender. I don't want a woman to speak on the gender. I want men also speak for it. If women's issue is not your issue alone, it's my issue also. It is the issue of human rights. Similarly, untouchability issue is not of the Dalits. They are victim of it. Why can't the Savarnadi speak for that? That is the important part. Now, if the upper caste will say, "Main kya karu? I was born in a Brahmin, it is not my fault." But yeah, it is not your fault. But as long as you believe you are Brahmin, there is a fault. As long as you believe in that, as I said, nobody decides where he should be born. But as long as you feel that you are this, if you feel you are a humanist, you are an equal citizen, and you want to encourage people, then there are a lot of avenues, there are a lot of areas of work, and I'm sure if we have those kind of people, then ultimately we have to go beyond our castes. If India has to survive, it will have to, have the cross-sectioning. Marriage here was an institution and through marriage we created a kind of what we call Brahminical patriarchy, because that was caste patriarchy. So caste sanctity was there. So caste controlled woman, because you can't marry outside it, and if you are like husband is no more, so you gone and you keep your mouth in a sad situation, wear white sarees and all those kind of things. So I think it's important for our youth to think beyond and promotes the marriages, self-sponsored marriages, beyond their caste. Everybody will go beyond caste when we make our outreach beyond that. If we confine ourselves to the same sector, same group, then we create a lot of prejudices, and we have in that kind of thing of mind. But in Uttar Pradesh and other places that I work, we have brought different communities together, and through action. I tell people that we are not going to inject in your mind, you believe this, hate this. I don't believe in hatred. I don't think that anything can be resolved through hatred. Ultimately, hate will have to be defeated and will be defeated. And then talk about rule of law, international covenants. This is what the instrument we talk about. But my feeling was this: some people say that you can't change. I can tell you my work at the ground that people change. People listen to you. Only thing is that for the poor people, you have to also see they will come to you and listen to you and your success story. As I said, that when you can go out, why can't I? When they see that you are honest with their work. Just one day lecturing will not help.
Your genuinity for the cause.
Yeah, you are there, you are standing with them in the saddest time, in their toughest moment. You may not help with finance, but you can help them with other ways.
Correct.
So it's not always people say, I don't have money. Nobody is asking you. You can stand with them when there are crises, when there are people, you can share their sorrows, pains, and the returns are tremendous. I can say you won't get that goodwill in Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Bangalore. You will get only in a village.
So what do you think is the responsibility of youth especially? How can, I wouldn't say responsibility, I would ask you to, from your experience, because when you talk about the kind of suffering that Ambedkar has gone through, the kind of life that he has seen, and the kind of experiences that you had, it is very easy for a person when they face that to kind of develop a hatred towards other human beings. But both of you, we have live examples who are working for the cause of human rights and equality. So what are your suggestions, or what are your directives for the youngsters to work on to bringing about a just society?
I tell people that one of the things is youngsters are sometimes confused how to intervene and where to intervene.
Yes.
Because they see somebody speaking on television, some Amitabh Bachchan or some Sachin Tendulkar, Rajinikanth, and they don't know how to. They think that these people only speak and that's it. But I think they should target a small area. And if they think, I tell them, look, whatever you are doing, do your work. Can you donate your 25% of time? And fix up a village or 10 families or 5 families. See, what I did was, in education, I could not get the opportunity to study really what I wanted to. I had a very bad, because nobody was there to support me. So I decided that I will support the girls. And I started five girls when just I didn't have an organization. So I was on a mission, basically fact-finding mission, and I found that this manual scavenging community girls, very young, 7-8 years, and they were doing, making beedies. And I just asked, in which class are you studying? They say, the 7th mein padh rahe hain, 6th mein padh rahe hain, chhod diya. Why? Because parents could not afford. Then just 5 that day, and that day was like, I realized that how sometimes the big organization of human rights are hypocritic. These 5 girls I met and their parents were engaged in manual scavenging, and I wrote a report, and I wrote about this untouchability exists here and this is this. So the organization which I was working for, they were not interested in the untouchability issue. They were interested, it is an economic issue. So they said, these people, some of them are working in the municipality, and their wages are very, very low. So they say, only write about the wages, don't write about the untouchabilities. The wage will be increased, that's finished. That's not our agenda. I say, but how can I? If the untouchability exists, why do you want not? That was the point of our thing. How the international organization sometimes behave. And then these girls, so I thought that if I ask about, that I will write a letter to the chief minister and then some organization, it will be futile. So that time I was just thinking, what should I do which gives them immediate help?
That's a very sensitive area. It's interesting to note, because if you observe, most of the time what happens is their caste also play a lot on their economics.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Absolutely.
Even if they are educated and everywhere. That was really wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
For more videos, please subscribe to this channel Positive Atheism and activate the bell icon.